Well, if you've been watching the DNC over the past few nights, as we have, you've probably noticed the powerful women in politics and celebrities featured in the lineup. Well, will this women-centric strategy be effective? To discuss, let's bring in Professor of Politics at Princeton University and Newsmax contributor, Dr. Lauren Wright. Hey, Lauren, good to see you.
Hi, good to be with you.
All right. Well, we've seen that the Biden campaign has been trying to paint Trump as this man who doesn't like strong women. And we also saw in the last cycle that he didn't poll well with suburban women. And at the DNC, the last couple nights, we've seen women be very prominent. Obviously, the first night, Michelle Obama, hosted by Eva Longoria. And then last night, Jill Biden, hosted by Tracy Ellis Ross. But, you know, we're going to see a lot more of this. There's 18 women speakers overall tonight. Obviously, the most prominent tonight, Kamala Harris. And then you still have women host for the rest of the week. Is this going to be effective to pull over women voters?
Well, effective is a tough word for a political scientist like me, and we do tend to be pretty jaded and skeptical when it comes to any campaign event, a convention, or even a single speech at a convention. But what I can say is that women and the gender gap has been an issue for the GOP long before Trump, although in 2016, that was the biggest gender gap we've seen from a voting perspective. And so long term, what the Democratic Party is trying to do, and unfortunately, President Trump sometimes makes this easier for them, is to portray themselves as really the party of women that's inclusive. And they want young women who are new to the political process to take a look at the convention, take a look at Congress. Why are there just 22 Republican women serving in Congress and 105 Democratic women? So if, you know, people vote based on party, they really do, not as much based on gender. But if you dig in, the Democratic Party is, as you say, they're really trying here to solidify that message. And in the long term, maybe it's something that works out in terms of how voters perceive that party.
Lauren, I want to play you something. Dr. Biden last night, when she was speaking, was in a classroom and she talked about reopening schools. Take a listen to what she said.
And with Joe as president, these classrooms will ring out with laughter and possibility once again. The burdens we carry are heavy, and we need someone with strong shoulders. I know that if we entrust this nation to Joe, he will do for your family what he did for ours.
Lauren, what I thought was interesting in this, and Elise Stefanik brought this up earlier in the show, is it's President Trump that's trying to get folks back in the kids back in the classroom, and it's Biden that's not in favor of that. So I thought it was interesting that Jill Biden was talking about bringing laughter and filling up the classrooms again. I'm not really sure that was that intentional, or do you think that just reading too much into that?
I think it was. And, you know, there's very few things about modern campaigns that aren't intentional. But I noticed the same exact thing, Sean. I noticed that she wasn't advocating directly for bringing students back or having students stay at home, something that is a very divisive issue. She's trying to appeal to independents, maybe to some moderate Republicans. She's trying to peel those voters away from President Trump. And those are the voters that put him over the top last time. And so everything I've seen, you know, so far from Jill Biden, high profile speakers, Republican speakers even, is this moderate message. I don't see a lot of like extremely progressive views. I don't see a lot of division. What I see is really a strategy of let's appeal to as many people as possible. And with a first lady or, you know, a presidential spouse, as my research shows, there's no one better to appeal to the out party and to moderates.
You know, and something that we've seen over the course, I would say, even of just the last few months is how divided our country actually is. And Dr. Biden also appealed to people that Joe Biden would be the right person to heal our country. Listen to this.
We found that love holds a family together. Love makes us flexible and resilient. It allows us to become more than ourselves together. And though it can't protect us from the sorrows of life, it gives us refuge, a home. How do you make a broken family whole? The same way you make a nation whole, with love and understanding.
You know, Sean brought this up earlier with Elise Stefanik, but really pushing this unity over policy message. Do you think that's going to resonate, one, with women and with people that they're trying to get, like you mentioned, the moderates?
It could. And here's the thing about a spouse that's so special. It's not just that they're a multiplying force on the campaign trail, or they allow candidates to be in more than one place at once. And certainly with a national campaign, that's a great asset. Spouses have this unique status. They can uniquely speak about the personal attributes of someone they've chosen to spend their life with. They can talk about those private moments, what happens behind the scenes, and they have been shown. And again, Melania Trump is no exception to this. They can really boost the image of candidates on these measures like character, honesty. Does the candidate care about people like me? These personal attributes are just, those cases are much more convincing coming from a spouse than from a professional colleague, for instance, or another politician.
You know, I totally agree with that. And what I'd love to do is get you back next week to talk about what Melania Trump has to do, because I think you're right. I believe that she is definitely the best spokesperson for him and really can share a side of him that just most people don't see and understand. So I would love to get your take next week on what that means for him going into his convention. So hope you'll come back and join us and share your thoughts on that.
Definitely. And that's true. She actually boosts opinion of Donald Trump among independents. That's a study I did in 2015, but I don't see a reason why she still wouldn't be the most effective. She's still the most popular of anyone in the family or of any surrogate. So she will have the same task on hand next week to appeal to people as far as Donald Trump from the personal side.
We'll see what prominent role she plays next week, and we'll have you back. Thanks, Lauren. All right, still to come, AOC is accusing NBC of intentionally generating hate clicks and spreading misinformation. We're going to break down the network's quick response and see if there's a double standard when we return.